Hey guys, this is Sri. So today we are going to see about the point-in-time recovery. Okay, so one of the important topic. So we will see first what is the point-in-time recovery, some basic idea, and then what are the requirements, then how to do that, and finally we will see the demo. Okay, so first let's try to understand the term point-in-time recovery. Okay, let's say if you are messed with the data with some wrong code deployment, with some different deletes or updates or drop, whatever, and you want to recover your database with some point, like, hey, I did perform some wrong queries in the database at maybe 12:30 UTC, and I would like to recover my database at that point, like before I am deploying what was my database state. I want to recover in that point. Or maybe like some business requirement, also based on their business, they want to see the database state, like what are the datas we had in that particular time, some 1 month before or 2 months before, what was the database state. In that case also, uh, you can follow this approach. Okay, let's say in short, like we are building the database with some point, like we are rollbacking in some point. Okay, so that is here the point-in-time recovery. And to do this, of course, we need the binary logs and the full backup. Okay, you should need the full backup to recover the entire database. And also you need the recovered binary logs. Okay, so that I will explain later, how we calculate and how we do that. And the binary log format should be raw, and binary log row image should be full. Okay, in that case, we will have the after and before datas, and we can achieve this. Okay, so yes, and this is the process. Like, make sure you have the enough binary log. So let's say, like, I have the full backup at 12 p.m. UTC, and this is the backup time. Okay, this is the backup time, and my application keep writes until 12:30 UTC. Okay, uh, writes, and something happened, like uh at 12 maybe 31, but that accurate time we can get in the seconds, right? But for our like the explanation, we can assume at 12:31 UTC there is some mess happens with code. Okay, so now requirement is have to restore, have to recover. Okay, better recover the database at the point of 12:30. Okay, so because after 12:30 I did some wrong deployments, and I executed some wrong queries, maybe deletes or updates or truncate delete or whatever. It messed with my data that is not going to be used. So I want to recover my data in the previous state before that wrong code deployment. What was my previous state of the data? I want to recover. So I want to recover the data at 12:30. What was? Okay. So how to achieve this? Okay. So we have the backup. We have the backup until 12 p.m. Right. And the issue happens at 12:31. So between that we have 30 minutes. right? So for the 30 minutes, I need the data, right? Because that time also application is keep writing the database. So I can do the backup, restore, and still there is 30 minutes data that I can get it from the binary logs. Okay, so the binary logs are mandatory to recover the data and make sure that you have the bin log format should be row and bin log for row image should be full. Okay, so in that case you can I mean you can recover the data completely. Okay, fine. So now we understand this. So now in our testing, what we are going to do, we have some data. Okay, we have some data. So this is the first step, and then perform full backup. Perform full backup using PXP, Percona Xtrabackup. I'm going to use the Percona Xtrabackup tool here. Any backup tool will work. So here I am using the Percona Xtrabackup to take the full backup. Then do more writes. Okay, so after the backup, also again I am going to perform some writes. Then MySQL. So I am going to, maybe I will do some drop table or whatever. Then recover the data. Okay, so we will go in this approach in our testing. Okay, so let me open the terminal, and here I am logging the server. So this is the fresh server. I do not have anything here. Okay, show schemas. So we have just default database. So let me create some data first. Create database 3, use 3, and quickly create a table. Create table T1 ID int primary key and auto increment. Then name Wacker 16, and one more column, C time, date time, default, current, timestamp. I'm just creating one table, okay, T1, and let me populate some data. Insert into T1, name, values, let's say A and B and C and D and E. Okay, so I just created some data, and let me view select star from T1. So I have overall 5 rows in this table. Okay, so overall I have 3 database and I have T1 table and I have 5 rows. So let's say we approach this step like 12 p.m. we have this data. So now I am going to perform the full backup using the Percona Xtrabackup. Okay, so Percona Xtrabackup is the is do the physical backup and very reliable and very less blocking. And this will capture the bin logs and those things by default. Okay, so I would recommend to use to perform the physical backups for the MySQL environment. Okay, so you can install it from the Percona repo. I already given some videos in my channel how the Percona Xtrabackup works and how to do the full backup incremental those things. You can find it in my channel. Okay, so now we already installed the Percona Xtrabackup, and this is the command line Xtrabackup. And to take the backup, I have to use backup option. Okay, hyphen backup and target directory where I am going to store the backup. Oops. So let me create one directory for this before make the three blocks. Okay, so I just created one directory for my backup, and here I am going to mention slash three blocks. Okay, so let me start the backup. So we have very less amount of data, right? So that only one table. So the backup should be quick. You can see the completed work at the end. And let's review the backup folder. Okay, so I have this backup. Fine. So we just completed this step. Like this is completed. Okay. Then again, we have to write some data. Okay, so we had some data and we taken the backup. Now the next step is, again, I am going to write something in the table. Let's say like, let me take that insert. Yes. And let me modify here. F, G, H, I, J. Okay. And now we have created 5 more entries. Okay, so these 5 entries are not available in the backup, right? We have that first 5 data, 1 to 5 we have in the backup, but 6 to 10 we don't have that in the backup, right? Fine. So this is like I am creating a simple table with the very less records for our understanding, for our better understanding. I am doing this. So let's think about in the production. We may have the different databases, we have lot of tables, and we have lot of operations performed. Okay, so just let's try to understand this basic thing. So then we can apply this in our production, right? So we have to understand the basic, right? So I am just explaining with this symbol data. Fine. So first we had that 5 records, and we have the backup for that. And after the backup, we created this 5 record. We don't have the backup. I mean, these records are not included in the backup. Okay, but we have these records in the binary logs, right? Okay, fine. So now what I'm going to do, so we completed this page now, completed. Now let's create the mesh statement here, drop table T1. Okay, so I just dropped the table. Now select start from T1. Table does not exist. Okay, so this one completed. Now let's start the recovery. Okay, so hey, some your application team is reaching you or your DBA team. Hey, we did something in the database. Okay, so we lost some data or we modified some data. So we want to roll back at that some point. Let's say, hey, I executed this drop statement. So we lost the table. So before dropping the table, what was my that table state? I want to recover until that. Okay. So before the drop, whatever I had, I need to recover that data. Okay. In a short. So once you have this requirement, to you have to try to get some more details from them, like when you drop the table, that maybe the not exact time, but approximately when did you drop the table and which table, how big, and how that access, like that everything. Like let's try to get some information from your app team regarding that activity. Then you can start. Okay, then application team will say, hey, we did that drop statement approximately that 12:30 that time. Then you can start to analyze the binary logs from that particular time, right? So before starting the recovery, you have to make sure you have the binary logs for that. Okay, maybe they may ask you to roll back some 2 to 3 days or 5 days or 10 days before. So in that situation, if you don't have the binary logs, then that's not possible, right? So before proceeding with the work, you have to make sure you have that all, right? Yeah. So now they are telling like around 12:30 we had this drop statement, and you started to check the backup. Okay, uh, I have the backup. Like we have the Sri log. There we have the latest backup which was taken in the 12, and here you can check the file extra backup bin log info. Okay, so there you can find the binary log and position. So in this way you can make sure, okay, so until this binary log and until this position, we have the data. Okay, we have the data in the backup. So restoring this backup will recover the data until this bin log file and this bin log position, right? Then you have to apply the remaining bin logs. Okay, so just it will tell you, okay, hey, you don't need to apply all the bin logs. We have the backup until this bin log and this position. Okay, now we have to find until which bin log we have to restore, right? For that specific table, until which bin log we have to restore. So for that, we have to find until where the drop statement was executed, right? So that we have to find first. So for example, where lib MySQL. So in my case, I know this is the last bin log, so it is going to have that drop statement. But considering the production use case, as I told, you can get some approximate time or maybe the exact time from your application team or who executed that statement. You need to get the time from him. Okay, you have to understand that approximate time. Then you can check the binary logs which are generated in that time. Then you can find it. So for example, decode the bin log. I'm using MySQL bin log utility base 64 output decode rows, right? And verbose, I'm adding 2 verbose. And first I'm checking the source 1 and grep drop. I do not find anything here. And then I am checking the second bin log, and here I can find this drop statement. Okay, so then I can make sure, hey, the drop statement is executed in the second binary log. Then I can view the binary log using less, and I'm searching the drop statement inside, and I came to know, okay, the drop statement is here, and I have to roll back until this position, right? And the end position is this one, 506. So let me mark it. So I have to recover the data until end position is this one, right? And my start position I will get it from Xtrabackup bin log info, right? Because until that we have the data already in the backup, right? So this is my start position, and this is my start position, and this is my end position. Bin log is same bin log. Maybe in your comparing to your production, you may have between that 12 to 12:30 time, you may have some 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or more than 5 or more than 10. You may have a lot of bin logs. It generated depends on your write pattern, right? So in that case, you have to apply one by one. Okay, so in our case, we just need to first to understand this better, we have to apply from apply the data, missing data in the backup from 157 to 506. Okay, so now I am good. I have the backup and I got the position where what I have to apply, and I make sure, okay, I am good. I have the things to restore. The next step is I have to create one MySQL instance, or you can create the new server there. You can install MySQL instance and you can restore the backup or whatever. Okay. Or you can get in the same server, you can do the binary installation and get the MySQL instance and you can restore the data. That is up to you. For my case, I have created one more server, TDE2, and here I am going to restore the backup and I am going to applying the data. Once I applied, I will get the complete data until 12:30. Then I will take the backup of that particular table. Then I am going to restore in the production. Got it? Now, first thing I have to I have to copy the backup because we have the full backup, right? First, I have to restore the full backup, right? So I am copying using SCP -R Srivlogs to the remote instance. This is my restore server. So I just copied and here I am just checking. I can see the backup directory, Srivlogs. Okay. So for the Percona Xtrabackup, before restoring, we have to prepare the backup. Okay. So while taking the backup, it is not consistent because when I taking the backup, it will copy the data directory files to the backup destination, and as well as the other thread will monitor the redo log for the changes. Okay, the changes will be available in the Xtrabackup_log file. So we have to do the crash recovery. So it will work based on the crash recovery. It will read the Xtrabackup_log file and it will apply the transactions. So just in a short, we have to prepare the Xtrabackup before restoring it. Xtrabackup prepare target directory is Srivlogs. So that that Xtrabackup, how it is working, those things, what happens in the prepare page, that all things I mentioned in the different video in my channel. So you can check there. Okay. So in the purpose of this video is we are going to see the PITR. So I'm not explaining that here, but we have the video already. You can check it there. So now I am preparing the backup before restoring it. And at the end, I can see completed. Okay. Now my backup is consistent. Now the next step is I need to restore the backup in the MySQL. So I already installed the MySQL here. So if in your production environment, if you are creating the new server, then you have to install the MySQL first. I already installed here. Stop MySQL. So I'm just stopping the MySQL service and going to the data directory. And I am removing everything here. Maybe you can take the backup, but for my purpose, this data is not needed. So I'm just removing and move or copy -R root Srivlogs start to here. So I just copied the prepared consistent backup here. Now the permission is root, the ownership. So I'm just changing the ownership to MySQL. Ownership is updated. Now I am going to start the MySQL service. Systemctl start MySQL. It is started and I'm logged in and I'm checking the databases. Okay, Sri is there. And using the Sri, select start from T1. I can see the data. Again, we have first 5 rows. because we taken the backup until 12 o'clock, right? 12 UTC. So we have that first 5 rows. The next step is I have to apply from the binary log from that between 12 to 12:30 between Xtrabackup and the drop statement, right? So what are the events we have? We have to apply everything. So here you make confusion. Hey, I have the issue with only one table. So if I am restoring the entire binary log, then it will not do that create any problem. It will not, because we are applying all those binary logs in the full backup, right? We have the entire data here from the different tables and databases, everything. So applying the complete binary log will not create any issues. So we can just apply the binary logs from the between the backup and the drop statement, and then we can recover what are the tables we need. Okay, so we already identified the positions, start position and stop position. So now let's prepare the command MySQL bin log, right? And this is the bin log file name, right? And start position is 157 and stop position is 506, right? So when you are applying the binary log content to MySQL, don't use the base 64 decode rows or verbose. Don't use that. Okay, it will create errors. So don't use that, because when we are using the decode, then the output will be different, right? So that will not work. So don't use the decode rows and the verbose options. So just binary log with the MySQL bin log utility tool, and just add your position from where to where you want to apply. This is one operation. The next one is I am adding the pipe symbol, and I am going to directly write in the destination server, which is the remote host. So this is my remote server, restore server IP. I just copied here MySQL H and user app already created app at 321. So in this command, we are doing two operations. Okay. So one is we are getting the content between the 157 and 506 position. And what are the contents between that position that will be executed in the recovery server, remote server. Okay. So now maybe you can add verbose to here in the MySQL client. Here you can use the verbose to check the statements executed, the session related statements, and these are the queries. Fine. Okay, so this is executed. Fine. Now I am checking the data in the restore server, like use 3 and select star from T1. So now I recover the data, the rest of data. Okay, 6 to 10 we recovered, and which is applied from the binary log. So previously we had only 1 to 5, right? And after we apply the data from binary logs, now we can see the 6 to 10 data. So here I would like to tell you one thing. So when you are choosing this, make sure you are choosing the proper position. Okay, like here you have the before the drop statement, we have this one. So this is the end position, right? And don't choose this like like by mistake. If you choose the position until this drop statement, then what happened? The drop, when we are restoring, the drop statement will also again, that 5 insert statement will execute, and after that this drop statement will also execute. Then again you will lose the data, right? After we restore the backup, those things, you will lose the data again. So we have to choose the position very correctly. Okay, so before the drop statement, this is the final event and this is the end position. So I am choosing that. Okay, so we have to make sure on that. Okay, so now I have the data before the drop. What was my database state? I have that state, but now this is available in the restore server. not in the production server yet, right? So now I have to dump this table again, and I have to restore in the production. Maybe MySQL dump. The table size is quite low, right? So MySQL dump Sri, and table name is T1. So this is my backup data using the MySQL dump logical data, and this is my production server, and I have the Sri database already. Show tables. We don't have the table because we dropped it, right? And I am just creating the table from the backup, and I am just restoring the data from the restore server to production server, right? And now I am verifying the data. I have that 10 records again in my production. Okay, so this is how we can do the point in time recovery. So this as I told here, we are just doing for the only one table, right? For the better understanding how this is working. So let me explain again. So first requirement, you have to make sure that you have the binary logs, and that should be row, and the bin log row image should be full. And if you want to understand what is row and what is bin log row image full, then again, we have already the videos in my channel explaining that practically. So you can check that. Okay. So that is first requirement. So when you have the issue, then you have to get some basic details. When that happens, those details, then you need to make sure you have the full backup, and you need to make sure you have the binary logs. Then you have to make sure you have to find the proper bin log file and position. Okay. Maybe so I just grab the drop that we did in our video, right? Let's say if you have some 10 to 15 binary logs you have to analyze, then instead of decoding and weaving everything, you can just do with grep, a simple grep do, right? Grep drop on each bin log. Then it will tell you whether the drop statement is available in bin log or not. So once you identify the binary log, you need to find the before event position, before the before the drop statement. What was the position for the last event? You have to take that position, and the start position you have to take that from the Percona extra backup bin log info. Okay, so that there it will have the bin log file and position for the until the during your backup, the last bin log file and position. So until that bin log file and position, you have the data, and the remaining before the drop statement, you already find the bin log file and position. So you just need to restore between that backup and the drop statement bin log events in your restoration server. And finally, you can recover the data. You can you can get the backup from your restore server, and you can restore in the production. Okay, so in this way, in this way we can do. Like this is for, again, this is for only one table. Maybe in this way, doing this full backup and applying the entire bin log, you can recover the entire database, or you can recover more than one tables as well. Okay, you need to follow the same procedure. Okay, because we are restoring the full backup and we are restoring the full binary logs, right, between that backup and the drop statement. So in this case, you can recover the entire database uh, in that point, at the 1230 point. Okay, so yeah, so this is what I thought to share today. Maybe I will try to post one more video by explaining the to recover the data from the accidental deletes or updates from that only one statement, how to recover that. Maybe I will post in the next video. I think we already have one video for that as well. Let me check. If we don't have that video, then I will post it. Okay, so thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. Like, if you have any questions, please comment, or you can directly reach me. And please share this video to your friends who is learning the MySQL. And please give some suggestions, like what topics you are looking forward related to the MySQL. Okay, so we already created some series like architecture series, and we posted some video. And yeah, I will continue with that. But if you have some recommendations, please post that as well. And if you are looking the MySQL course training, please let me know. Okay. So yeah, so that's all today. We will see you in the next video. Bye. Thank you.